Project Awakening is one of those mysterious titles that caused such a huge impression when they were first revealed. However, while the game was announced to be a PlayStation 4 title, developer Cygames has been very absent about providing new information about the game. What is up, you beautiful gamers? Welcome back to Role-Playing James. Before we move on to the subject of today's video, I would like to invite you fine ladies and gentlemen to subscribe and like the video because, you know, it's free. It helps a lot. That being said, who is Cygames? Cygames is a Japanese developer that focuses on the mobile gaming world. Project Awakening is their first attempt into a AAA console game to penetrate the Western market. Last substantial information we have from them prior to hearing about the development progress of the game this year was from an interview they had with Extra Live, which gave us a general idea of what Project Awakening will be. That is what we are going to discuss before we get into what has been said about the game this year. Project Awakening is an action-adventure RPG game that has some Monster Hunter and Dark Souls vibes to it. The gorgeous trailer that had us all jaw-dropping was but an idea of what Cygames wants the game to end up looking like. It will be an open-world game with multiplayer that aims to have you fight against huge monsters with a team of 4, and if they're able to do so, 12 people. That, by word of the developer, was still in the open back in 2019, as many of the general game ideas were still being tweaked here and there, and I believe they still are, so much of this is still subject to change. The main core of the gameplay elements, they want to focus a lot more on the action elements rather than the RPG ones, and the RPG elements will also be somehow different to what we hold for a standard nowadays. And while they're still trying to figure out how they want them to be, they did throw out an idea they probably had flying around in the development discussions. Quote, that is still undecided. I don't really want the classic you fight a lot to gain points and your stat automatically increase. I think that's boring. I really want the player's action to somehow be reflected. For example, if you carry a huge proc sword all the time, maybe your muscle increases in your arm as well. End of quote. They also mention how they want the progression, gameplay gear and stuff like that to work. Quote, well, that is pretty much undecided, but we will have different classes, lots of different outfits, gear and items, etc. It will not be that people will get together in guilds and always stick together in the same formations, but maybe it will depend on the bosses that they are currently facing. You might need certain people with skills or classes and get together with those people. After it's done, they may split up, get together with a new group. End of quote. They also mention a little bit of how they want the narrative to be driven. Seeing games like this makes a reminiscence of Dark Souls, where the narrative is fully driven by the gameplay and the world exploration. They want to have a middle point in here, where half of it will be narratively driven and the other half by gameplay. They also said that they take inspiration in media like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones for this game. But do remember that these companies always like to add that little sauce of Eastern mythology on the game, so it might actually be interesting to see how that works. Also, I'm sure many people is already aware of this, but prior to the 2018 trailer, we already had a teaser trailer in 2016 that made the game look a whole lot more Japanese-like in comparison to that 2018 trailer. That is pretty much all of the information we got before Cygames went silent about the development of Project Awakening, which led many gamers to believe that the game got cancelled. In a recent interview, Cygames talked about Cyllasta, new game engine they're working on, since with the jump of a generation, they aim to release Project Awakening on the current generation, which leaves the door open to interpretation if we are going to see it in the last generation of consoles as well. Quote, Project Awakening is being developed with the aim of a realistic look, so the engine is being adjusted to further that goal. The original aim was to create the ultimate engine for a AAA games, so it's designed to support large-scale development. Currently, a team of about 100 people is working on it, end of quote. They also talk about the idea of the line of mobile and console gaming and blurring more and more as technology advances, which leads to a direction where not too long in the future mobile and console games development could go hand in hand, and to be blatantly honest, that is a thought that really scares the crap out of me. I enjoy playing games like Fire Emblem on my phone and such, for example, but I will never see it as a main source of entertainment because I hate gacha and pay-to-win games with all my soul. That being said, imagine consoles filling their stores with games like those we browse around our phone stores. Quote, on top of that, while he can't say for sure yet, he believes that the borders between console games and smartphone games will blur in the future. Developers will be able to work on games without having to focus on one or the other camp. Tango-san adds that one of the reasons Cygames is working on engine development is to be able, in the future, to produce console-quality games on smartphones. It'll be possible to adapt quickly if the engine can handle both. End of quote. Last but not least, Tango-san talked briefly about the development progress of Project Awakening. These 4K Ultra HD HDR pictures that you're seeing right now come from the engine. He mentions that unfortunately Cygames hasn't been able to share new information for a long time, but visuals have evolved considerably since the latest reveal. Not only gamers, but also other developers ask him about the progress, so he hopes to create something that will meet their expectations, deliver it as soon as possible. We don't have a release target window yet and may actually be still quite far away since they're still working both on the game engine and the game on itself as development progresses. Also, I think it wouldn't be a crazy idea to see this game in platforms outside of Sony's, since developers did stated on the Extra Life interview that they wanted to publish the games as broad as possible and as many platforms as possible. Considering Cygames is not a Sony subsidiary, the thought of seeing the game on another platform is actually not that far stretch. That being said, let me know in the comments below what do you guys think about Project Awakening. Are you guys excited about this new upcoming RPG? Tell me all about it in the comments below, and I'll see you beautiful gamers in the next one. Remember to stay safe, stay beautiful, and I'll see you later.